Okay, what I'd like to do is I'd like to talk about the phone calls a little bit. You know, I really have tried to touch base on as many things as I can so far, but I really haven't talked about handling the phone calls quite yet. And it wasn't until I received a phone call from an old salesperson of mine who called me up and venting just extreme frustration for the type of phone calls she had been receiving. And I get it, you know, I know that they exist. But she was just going on about saying how consistent they've been. It just feels like every time I answer the phone, I've got these customers that are pushy, they're not nice, they're mean, they're aggressive, and I'm just getting tired of it. It almost makes me not want to do this anymore. Which, to hear this salesperson say that just kind of hit me in the gut a little bit, because she's got natural ability in this profession. She knows how to achieve the wow factor. She is incredible at building rapport. She's incredible at building referrals. Customers would follow her anywhere. To hear her say this, to get her so frustrated with these phone calls, to know that she would be giving up on a career that can be so profitable for her, I didn't like hearing that. But I also get it, you know, because if you remember, I preach to say that we teach people how to treat us. And I've also said to business development centers to be careful, because you could be putting habits and processes in place that are teaching customers how to treat us. And those stereotypes and those perceptions and those fears, we could be doing things that are feeding just that. So I got to ask you to be careful, because if you're out there and you salespeople are experiencing these type of phone calls coming from customers, you have to ask yourself, why are they acting like this? They know that they have to come to a dealership and they have to deal with a salesperson to take possession of their new vehicle. So why are they making the phone calls, and why are they acting so frustrated to an individual whose position is to help them? For no other reason than we've taught them how to treat us. Okay? And when you put a process in place that follows a scripted plan to get an appointment, and that's the objective, and that's what they've been taught, instead of teaching them how to connect with the customer, then guess what? You're feeding those fears and stereotypes and perceptions, okay? You've got to get past that. Customers want to deal with someone that they can trust, that they see is honest and that has character and that can really empathize with their situation. And whenever you do anything else that distracts that from happening, the appointment that you get them to say yes to has not got them to emotionally connect to that appointment yet. Now, this young lady here that I'm referring to, the salesperson, she works in a dealership that does not operate with a business development center. But as we talked about, business development centers are growing trends, okay? And these phone calls and these scripts, these are growing trends to try and help people handle the phone calls. But is the recovery plan in place if this process does just what I'm saying that it's doing, and it's feeding customers negative perception? Is that really the solution? And I don't think it is, because the solution is much more simple than that. But here is the best way I can tell you to handle a phone call. Always remember, there is a power to getting a name. There is a power to giving the name. There is a power to a polite and friendly introduction. There is a certain psychological effect that it has when you say what you do and who you are. And then when you say, nice to meet you, and your name is, and you actually have that connection of a name. It can happen over the phone. So here's how I would encourage you to do this on a phone call. Remember, always, always, always empathize with what they're going through. Phone rings. You answer the phone. Hello, thank you for calling such and such dealership. How can I assist you? Do not give your name. Do not say, this is Brian speaking. Just say, how can I assist you? Something simple along those lines. Customer's reaction may be, yes, I'm just trying to find out information on a Buick LaCrosse or Buick Regal, whatever it may be, and I just want to know if you have this vehicle. I want these options. I want to know how much can I lease it for. This is how much money I'm putting down. Whatever it is, however aggressive their approach is, you turn around immediately, very friendly, very polite. Do not let their negativity affect you, because they've been taught to be that way, okay? Simply say, that's fantastic. I'd be happy to help you out with that. By the way, my name is Brian Vietzke. I'm one of the sales professionals here, and you are? John. John, it's very nice to meet you. John, if you don't mind me saying, I'm kind of getting the impression that so far you have really not been helped on the level that you deserve from other dealerships. Is that true? They may say something along the lines of, no, I haven't. Or they may say, well, this is the first dealership that I'm calling. It doesn't matter what the reaction is. Well, John, I apologize for that. Would you mind telling me how you would like me to treat you? You pretty much put an answer out there that he's not going to know how to respond to. You really want to know how I want to be treated? And they may tell you I want you to be truthful. I want you to tell me what I can do. They may sit there and say, well, John, in order for me to answer those questions for you, it's going to require me to ask you a few questions. Are you okay with that? This aggressive personality is actually a nice guy. There's a nice person behind it. It's just been taught to be this way. So kill them with kindness. Be patient with that attitude, because that attitude exists because we fed it that way, okay? Then follow the same guidelines. A guideline on a phone call is to always capture a name, get a phone number, get an email address, and get the appointment, and get a firm appointment. And if you go along and you ask a few questions and you ask a few more questions, it's like a potato chip. Whatever a phone call is, you always want to leave them wanting more. Certainly that's an option. We can always look at that. John, it sounds like we need to exhaust a few ideas and options. We need to avoid any confusion based on pricing and availability. And to be honest with you, talking with you over the phone, we're doing just that. We're putting ourselves in a position to make things confusing when something actually has to happen. What I would like to do is to set up an appointment, set up a time where you and I can sit face to face, explore all options, and avoid any confusion as to pricing and availability. When would be a good time for you and I to get together, morning or afternoon? Would 12:45 work? Okay, whatever that, if people tell you to do instead of 12:30 and make it 12:45 or 1:15, whatever that is. All right, then say something along the lines of, well, I'll tell you what, you got a pen handy? I'm going to give you my cell phone. If there's something should change, please give me a call. I would like to extend that same courtesy to you, that if for some reason I'm not going to be here, I'd like to let you know what's the best number for me to get a hold of you at. If I can't get a hold of you there, what's the next best phone number to get? In the meantime, I would also like to pass on some information, maybe give you some reading material before you make it down here, and give you directions to our store. What is your email address? Are you okay if I text you anything? Would you prefer me to follow up with touch base based on a phone call or text or email? Which three would you like me to do? And you write text on there. Guess what? You got an appointment, you calm the customer down, you got an email, you got a phone number, you were polite, you were pleasant. There's nothing wrong with what you just did, but you have to at least empathize with what they've been going through and follow the psychological guidelines of influence, okay? We're in a position of persuasion. And to do that, you always have to recognize there's a power in names, there's a power in an introduction, and it calms everything down. Empathize and ask them, how would you like me to treat you today? And I'm sorry for the way you've been treated so far. I don't want to make that same mistake. Tell me what I can do differently. That is an incredible way to handle the phone, and it certainly has that emotional connection so that at the end of that appointment, they want to say, yes, you're different than that script I just had to overcome or I just had to deal with. Okay? I hope that was helpful. Thank you.